I could have a 25-year-old that makes $20,000 a year, and I can have a 25-year-old that makes $100,000 a year. It just depends. I can have a 25-year-old making $100,000 a year and saving none of it. I can have a 25-year-old making $40,000 a year and saving more than the guy making 100. How are you managing your finances? That is far more important than what everybody sees on the outside. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. All right, today we are going to talk about comparing and stop and breathe. So I met with a couple of young people in the last week, and they were 20 to 35. Okay. Both of them had kind of the same issue. And that one of those issues was comparing. They were comparing themselves to everybody that was 55, 60, 65, 70. And if you are a young farmer out there and you are listening to this, you guys, and I'm going to say guys because they were all guys, I feel like women are actually better at this than men. Women compare. We're always out there looking and comparing ourselves to, oh my God, we need eyelashes and lip filler and all the stuff, right? Like, oh, look at so-and-so's house and look at what so-and-so is driving and look at so-and-so as a mom. We compare ourselves differently. And that way you guys compare yourselves a lot. As farmers, you're comparing yourself because you're looking across the fence and you're saying, hey, look at what that guy's got. He's got brand new equipment. He's farming 5,000 acres. He's farming 10,000 acres. How do I get that? How come I don't have that yet? How do I stop working off the farm so I can farm full time? I want that. And wanting that is fantastic. But we need to slow down and we need to think about, we need to process, how old are they? How long have they been farming? What did they do to get where they're at? A lot of people have worked off the farm 10, 15, maybe 20 years so that they can start farming, so that they can put capital in, so that they have money to rent their own ground. Stop comparing yourself to the next door neighbor who's 15, 20, 30 years older than you, because it takes time to get there. I was listening to a podcast a while back and I heard them talking about, hey, you're going to get to the destination. It's just going to be a different time frame. Okay. Everybody wants to go full speed, right? Let's just go Mach 90 and let's get there as fast as we possibly can. And we might leave an absolute disaster behind us in our process. Do we need to leave a disaster? Do we have to go Mach 90 and maybe destroy our marriage? Maybe not have time for the kids? Maybe not go do all the things with the kids? Do we really need to do that? Or can we do that at a slower pace? Because guess what? We have our whole life. It's not like you're 30 and you're going to die tomorrow. You're most likely going to live to be into your 80s. So can we enjoy the process along the way? And speaking of this, I just did a TikTok the other day because I'm on the side of TikTok where I am seeing all of these really young kids learning how to drive tractor, and their parents are being very, very patient with them. And I think it's absolutely awesome because I did not grow up in that environment. My dad was very driven. Everything was hurry up, get it done. We have stuff to do. We have a business to grow. And that is how I raised my children. I was a yeller, okay? Not so much anymore. I can still yell. Don't get me wrong. I can still get ornery and pissed off about things, as you guys well know. However, I was like growing my business. I was short on patience. I was short on money. And that is very stressful. I wish somebody would have given me this advice to say, hey, just stop and breathe for the love of Pete. Like, it's all going to be okay. You don't need to get there tomorrow. Because guess what? Once you're there, then you have to maintain the there. And maintaining being there is just as stressful as getting there. It's just maybe a little less stressful because you have a little more money, but you got to maintain the money, right? Because along the way, you got tractors and land and all the other things that you have to buy. But it's fun to see this younger generation of parents taking time to teach the kids how to do things. And they just sit and watch. And it's not, is it really about how big we are? Or is it really about how much money we make? Because to me, it's all about cash flow, right? What is your profit? If you have a profit, that's what we're looking at. Not somebody that farms 10,000 acres and doesn't have a profit. I frankly don't care about that person. That person can't manage any money. Who cares? So they look good on the outside, big deal. So I'm seeing this with the younger generation. They are saying, hey, I am ready. I am 25 or 27 or whatever, and I'm ready to conquer the world. As much as I appreciate that you are ready, we still need the experiences of dad because we're 27. We haven't seen downfalls yet. I have a guy that is just not quite understanding infinite banking. He's like, I just don't get it. I don't understand why I wouldn't just keep paying the equity off in my rental home so that I can keep borrowing against the rental. Well, you have a lack of control, right? If we borrow money from our life insurance policy, we have control of that. We don't have to answer any questions. We just fill out a form, money gets transferred. No questions as of to why we're taking a loan. If I have to borrow against the equity of my property, then I have to go to the bank and I have to tell the bank what I'm doing and they have to look at my financials and they have to make sure I can make a payment and yada, yada, yada. This kid is in his 20s, maybe early 30s, and he cannot quite figure out why that is such a big deal to me. It is because I'm 50 and I have seen people get their lines of credit shut off. I've seen people being told, no, you can't refinance your house. No, we're not giving you a home equity line of credit against your house. It's the same thing with farm ground, right? Have we seen the downturns in the market or have we just been farming long enough because we're young enough that we've only seen all the good? And I remember back when corn was $7 a bushel, all the millennials were young, right? We had 20-year-old millennials. And everybody at that time was saying, oh my God, they've never seen a downturn in the market. They thought this was going to last forever. Now, all the old timers are criticizing the millennials because they thought grain was just going to stay at that price and then we're just going to spend money and everybody wants to farm because it's so easy to make money. Yet, it's not that easy to make money because what goes up must come down. And so if we're young and we start on an up, are we going to be prepared for the down? We need the knowledge of the older generation to remind us, and we need the experience of the older generation to say, hey, this is how you might need to get through that. Now, not every older generation did it correctly, right? If they can acknowledge what they did wrong, then maybe we're going to learn something from them. But we have to understand that we got a lot of life to live. And along that life, we're going to make some errors. We're going to figure things out along the way. And so don't be in such a hurry to get rid of the older generation because we still need their experiences. We still need some of that knowledge that they hold to help us when we don't know what to do. It is no different than like, I am going to go to an agent that has been in the industry for 30 or 40 years, and I'm going to learn from them. I'm not going to go in and be like, you can get out of here because I know infinite banking and you don't. No, they might not know infinite banking, but they sure know the industry that I've not been in for 40 years. I've been in it for 15 years, but not 40. And so now all of a sudden, I'm looking to them for guidance. So don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't be in such a hurry to get where you think you need to go that you leave this tornado behind you. If you are a super driven individual, I think that that's awesome. I am also quite driven, but I have a husband that is very chill. And he is the one that has to remind me, hey, it's okay to sit down and relax. It's okay to not be burning the candle at both ends and enjoy life a little bit. It's okay to go see your kids play their game or do whatever they're doing. It's okay to take the 5 minutes to show them how to do stuff. It's okay to just breathe because we're 35 and dad does not have an estate plan yet. We're 25 and dad does not have an estate plan yet. No, dad might be older. He might be in his late 60s, early 70s, because I'm seeing a lot of that. Is something going to happen to him? Yeah, probably sooner than later. Should he have a plan? Yes, he should have a plan. But if you put your head down, get to work, develop your relationships with your bankers, figure out plan B for yourself, you're going to have to clean up the mess, but be ready for the mess if he's not doing it. You're not going to get, in most cases, you are not going to get somebody in their 70s to hand something off to someone in their 20s. It's just not going to happen because 70-year-olds don't think 20-year-olds know anything, even if they are their own children. Okay? So we kind of have to understand where both sides are coming from. But it's absolutely crazy to me when I'm on social media and I am seeing a lot of people comparing. And then I come to meetings and I see a lot of young people who are super frustrated because they're not as far as they thought they should be, but they're comparing themselves to what? Just somebody that's 15, 20, 30 years older than them. Because when I tell them, hey, you're doing very well compared to your peers, that's a whole different story. They have a very different mindset then. Because most of their peers, if you are 25 listening to this and you are not in the bar every weekend and you are not spending your money foolishly and you are reading my book, you're listening to my podcast, you're listening to other people's podcasts, you are doing your due diligence, you are educating yourself. Let's just sit back and look at your peers. They're probably in the bar every weekend. They're doing stupid shit, spending money on stupid shit. And those are your peers, but those are not the ones you're comparing yourself to. Every generation, in my opinion, I have no statistics to back this up. Every generation has their top 1%ers. This country and this world has their top 1 to 3%ers. Everybody else just does what everybody else does. And so if you are always educating yourself, you're already ahead of your peers. Financially, it's going to take some time to get there. I always tell people, I absolutely love turning 40. I love getting older every single year. I am never scared to tell anybody how old I am because every single year it gets better and better and better. Why? Because I'm smarter and I have more experience and I have more people surrounding me with experience and I learn how to ask specific questions. Every single year gets easier and easier and easier financially. It is a struggle in your 20s and 30s. The majority of the time, it's a struggle. But guess what? Everybody 50, 60, 70 has to go through their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And we all struggled. And so that's why we have the experience. So the moral of the story, stop comparing yourself to everybody else. And always remember, if your neighbors are farming a bunch of land, they have a bunch of equipment, they look like they're doing stuff great on the outside, are they? Or are they financed to the hilt? Some of them are going to be doing fantastically financially. Some of them are going to be financed to the hilt. Some 20-year-olds are going to be amazing. They're going to have so much money, it's crazy. Some 20-year-olds are going to have so much credit card debt, it's insane. I love it when people say, Mary Jo, what's the average amount of premium people pay when they're 25? I don't know. There isn't an average because I could have a 25-year-old that makes $20,000 a year and I can have a 25-year-old that makes $100,000 a year. It just depends. I can have a 25-year-old making $100,000 a year and saving none of it. I can have a 25-year-old making $40,000 a year and saving more than the guy making $100,000. How are you managing your finances? That is far more important than what everybody sees on the outside. So take that for what it's worth. But I just wanted to reach out to some of you young guys and say, just breathe. It's okay where you're at. You're always going to get better. It's not going to happen overnight. If dad is not preparing to hand it off, put your head down, rent some ground, and get started on your own. Use his equipment. Do whatever you need to. Don't wait for a handout. Build relationships with neighbors. Help where you can. Do what you can. But don't be so hard on yourself and beat yourself up because you're not where somebody else is and you don't even know the full story to how they got there. And some of that comes from experience, right? Like, I can look at my colleagues and be like, gosh, how come I'm not where they're at? Do I want to be where they're at is my question. I can watch what they're doing from afar and go, no. Nope. They never see their family. They're never home. They're traveling all the time. They're managing a bunch of people. No, thank you. I don't want that. So I'm good. I wish I would have had this advice 15 years ago. So here I am, sharing my experience. All right, you guys, let me know if you have comments, questions, concerns. If you haven't gotten the book, go to farmingwithoutthebank.com, grab the book, schedule your appointment. If you are waiting for an appointment and you are not on the waiting list, you can email us. We have a waiting list. But if you're going to be on the waiting list, you need to have your numbers ready. And so you got an email with all the numbers I'm going to need. Have those ready so we can call you. Just this week as I'm recording this, I've had 3 cancellations. Calving, snow, crops, whatever. People cancel last minute. And so if you have those ready, we can call you and get you in last minute. And you then don't have to wait until June. All right. Let me know. I'm always here to answer questions. Otherwise, you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.